last week I have asked you to come cyber or a classroom discussion we have done, and also I have given you a homework, kind of homework, not a kind of homework, but only 9 will have uploaded their documents to their limit. Right? That is kind of a homework, but kind of a assignment. Right? So, so we have actually completed the part, right? So in your examination, the same type of examination before, same type of question will come in your examination, right? So be ready with the questions, right? So am I audible to the online people? Yes?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Right. So with that note, so I will moving on to the today's topic. So from this topic, you have to do the presentation, right? So I will take 2 weeks for the presentation, right? And 25 marks will be allocated, out of 100 for the presentation, right? So I asked you to create a group, and also I have also put the group as well, right? To upload the group like that the member list. Only 2 I have checked the proposal today morning. Only 2 groups have uploaded their name list. So I open up till next week that group, so you can upload your group list and group number for that group, right? And I will take the presentation most probably in the last 2 weeks, right? So you need to cover up the risk management part in the day. So I have mentioned about the guidelines last week. So we are progressing on the lecture, right? So I will give some further guidelines. So today, what we are going to discuss is we are going to start the risk management part. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this session, right? So when it comes to the risk management and the ethics, right? So these parts actually very important if you are working as a CFO, if you are working as a company owner, if you are working as a finance manager, right? So that perspective you need to look at those ethics and risk management part, right? So today we are going to discuss about the risk management part. So before that, the first slide, when you are looking at this first slide, you feel like you can't understand anything, right? It says about A, B, C, D, R, E, S, right? So this is actually in today's world. So these 7 letters are the emerging topics. Right? So first one is A. A stands for the AI technology, right? And B stands for the big data, right? Big data, right? And C stands for the cyber security, right? And D stands for the digitalization, right? And R for what? R for what? Risk management, right? R for the risk management. And E, ethics. S, 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 S. Right. So these are the few very important topics when you come to next few years, right? So if you want to become a accountant or the CFO or the business owner, so you need to aware of these things. Right? So I will go one by one. AI, right? So nowadays, there's a debate going on about the accountant, right? That people are saying that accountant job will no longer exist because of the technology. So I would say it is not. Right? So yeah, it's kind of a that is a when it comes to the number of yes, I have the judgmental ability and I have the professional skills. All of things I have, but if the technology comes, right, to do that work, the people of how much we need for do that work will be reduced. But I will say like this. So if we say that with the AI, people will do the job, but it's not. Why? I would say if you have the good technological knowledge, then you will be not losing your job, right? So that is the first concern is AI. We are having a chat GPT, we are having a kind of a AI. So recently I have awareness robot, one of the robot shoot out and dead, right? That is also a big key about the AI, right? So now the AI is coming up very fast, so you need to aware of the AI. Then next one is a big data, right? Big data. So when you are going to the Facebook and you search something, right? And the next day or the next second, Facebook will give you the all the alternatives. So that is the big data, right? So when you are looking at the Facebook, what you call the Facebook balance sheet, right? You can't see PP there, right? So their main asset is the big data, right? So in next few years, the big data accounting and big data sort of things will come in. So you need to aware about the big data. And the next one is see cybersecurity very important, right? Let's say I have a big company, right? Let's say I have a big company. So suddenly I got a cyber attack. So to correct that, I have to spend let's say 1 year, then my company will be. So the cybersecurity also a big concern when it comes to today's world. Nowadays, most of the directors, management who is actually involved in the business world is focused on the cybersecurity. So as an accountant, you need to know the cybersecurity aspect as well. So if you want to become one day you will want to become a CFO or you need to become a director, so you need to aware of those. And digitalization very important with the AI and the cybersecurity. All of these goes with the digitalization. All the things are digitalized, right? So people coming from the online because of the digitalization, right? And the next one is very important one, which we are going to discuss today, risk management, right? Risk management. So how we are going to manage the risk, right? Manage the risk. So risk management actually is there in the previous as well, but nowadays the risk is very important to manage. Right? If you are not managing the risk, then you can't survive. And also, if you are not taking the risk, you so that is very important to manage the risk. Right? Like how are you risk done that? Right? What you have to do, you need to manage the risk. That is very important. When it comes to business, if you are not taking the risk, then you will be not profitable. Right? You can't earn from it if you are not taking the risk. So, you're going to be on it. Risk can return to your bodyguard. So, if you are not taking it, not give you the appropriate or the desired return. Right? So, therefore, managing the risk is a big concern. So, that is also a work of accounting. So, if you think the accountant work only stick to the financial reporting, so it's not. Right? Or the director's job is stick to overlooking the things which is reported by the finance director. It is not. Right? So then ethics very important. We don't have the ethics in Sri Lanka mostly. Right? Right? So that is why everything happens. Right? If you have a good ethics, right, no one steals others' money. Right? So you need to maintain a professional skill. So professional ethics. Ethics is very important. Right? Everyone needs to have ethics. Right? Either personal ethics, either professional ethics. Right? For the companies also, you need to have ethics. For example, let's say, my company one company company no company we need to have the ethics, right? That is a big concern, ethics. And the sustainability. So if you aware in the next syllabus change in the CS Sri Lanka, they will incorporate the FS1 and FS2. FS1 is the disclosure for sustainability, and FS2 for the climate change and the other reporting aspects of the sustainability. So you need to aware about those. FS1 and FS2. That is the only primary implementation of sustainability, but in next few years, financial reporting is come up with the sustainability development, right? Sustainability reporting. So, for example, let's look at the JKH financial statement or the kind of a big company's financial statement. For the financial reporting, only let's say 20 pages. But when it comes to sustainability reporting, right, they will allocate so much of pages. Why people actually want to know about the sustainability reporting. So nowadays it is the kind of a discussion topic, right? Sustainability reporting. And also there's a new standard coming up for the IFRS 18. It is replaced by the LPS 1. Right? That is also kind of a adjustments to the sustainability reporting or sort of things to report to give more awareness to the stakeholders or the shareholders or the people who are like to know the stuff in the financial statement. We call it as stakeholders. Right? So those sort of things are very important. So today we will pick one out of these 7 letters, that is risk management. Right? So before starting the session, so I want to make your mindset to not like you are just studying as a student. You need to take your mindset as a director or CSA. Who is looking at overlooking your company, who is controlling your company, either you are having a company. Right? So that mindset you need to create and you need to go with this lecture. Right? Okay. Moving on. So today's discussion, I will allocate 5 main themes. So first one is the introduction and the definition management. Right? Samanya අපි කරන දේ හැම lecture එකකම risk management ගැන ඔයාලා පිළිගන්න. Risk management process very important in your examination. Definitely, I will ask a question from the risk management process, and I will go through with this risk management process in I think for 2 weeks. Right? Today only I will give some sort of introduction for the risk management process. Risk management approaches and methods. What kind of approaches you are having, methods, how you are going to manage the risk, right? And risk reporting, right? So nowadays what people are not doing is actually they are doing things, but they don't report. Right? So when you come into sort of thing like risk management, definitely you need to report. Right? We have a risk management process, but we are not reporting. You need to aware the people for the risk management. So reporting is very important. And also risk organization. Risk organization means how the companies are managing the risk. Right? So there are different type of companies for the organization. So how they are managing the risk. Right? How the traditional organization manage risk. How the emerging organization or the existing nowadays organization are managing this. So those sort of things we will discuss too. Right? Okay. So the first thing, when it comes to risk, right? You need to know the risk. What do you mean by your risk? Risk. Risk can know it. But then the other risk on the other risk. Right. So what do you mean by risk? Anyone? Yes, I don't want the kind of a technical terms. What do you mean by risk? In risk? Risk. Get that one. Yes. uncertain, it might go wrong. Two things. Yes. Any other idea? Yes. They are in the loop. So here, what this boy is going to do is actually he's going to jump right from this side to other side. Right. So there is a risk. What is the risk? What is the risk? Yeah. He might fall. So if he falls, so that is kind of a unfavorable thing, right? Like unfavorable. So when we are taking, when we are doing something, if unfavorable thing happens, that thing, the probability of having that, we call it as risk general, right? So in your examination, I will not ask what is the meaning of this now. I will use a case study and you need to pick it, right? Right. So you need to pick the business risk, you need to pick the risk associated with the company, right? So that is the requirement. So the risk. So when it comes to risk, so there's a technical wording for the risk is there. Chance of loss or unfavorable outcome associated with the action, right? Chance of loss or unfavorable outcome, right? අපිට unfavorable outcome එක කරනවා නැත්නම් loss එකක් වෙනවා. අපි කරන යම් කිසි ක්‍රියාවක් නිසා. right? අපි ඒක business perspective එකෙන් කිව්වොත් මම යනවා company එකක් acquire කරන්න. right? මම යනවා company එකක් acquire කරන්න. මම දැන් මම KFC. මම acquire කරන්න යනවා local company. acquire කරලා දවස් දෙකක් යද්දී මේ company එකේ secret මොනවා හරි විතරක් තියෙනවා. ඒක මට unfavorable outcome because of my action, right? So I will there's a chance of loss or unfavorable outcome. That is we call it generally as a risk, right? It is a technical wording, but you need to understand what's the meaning of it, right? Right. So when it comes to the risk, we know, right? There's a trade-off, right? If you are taking more risk, the return will also getting higher. If you risk take return is high. You can return. Any other cryptocurrency, like finance, maybe. So if you are taking risk, right? Only invest करना है तो इन बुलान profit है ready, but the return will be very high. That is, they have learned actually in a private class. If you are taking more risk, then we call it as a risk and return trade-off, right? It will balance, right? If the risk goes up, the return also goes up, right? Right. So how we are going to manage? Risk management involving optimizing expected returns subject to the risk involved in and risk tolerance, right? So we know we can't escape from the risk, right? Here, I can't escape from the risk, but what I can do, I can build which then I can manage the risk, right? So how we are going to manage the risk, how we are going to optimize the risk, right? We call it as risk management, right? So that is we are going to discuss. So when it comes to this is actually a day-to-day we are facing risk, but when it comes to business, as I mentioned before, you need to see this as a CFO, right? In every company, every second, right, you will be facing risk, right? You will be facing, right, because of the COVID-19, the people getting into the risk, the businesses getting into risk, right? Every second, business has a risk, competition risk or the kind of market risk will coming up, right? So as a CFO, what you need to do? You need to identify the risk and you need to what? You need to manage it, right? Right? You need to manage it. If you are not managing the risk, what will happen? What will happen? You will be low or you will be getting unfavorable outcome. They are having loss or unfavorable outcome. Right? So managing risk is very much important, right? Very much important, right? Risk management, right? So in risk management, what we need to do? We need to do three things, right? You need to identify the risk, you need to assess the risk, and you need to control the risk, right? You need to identify the risk, you need to assess the risk, and you need to control the risk, right? So in your business, first thing you need to do is you need to identify what are the risks you are having, right? What kind of a risk you are having. Then you need to assess the risk, right? How much this risk will hurt my company, right? So that is my assessing the risk. Then we need to control it, right? So that is we call it as risk management, right? Risk management. So when it comes to the risk, right, in the company perspective, we will be having financial uncertainties, right? Financial uncertainties coming up nowadays in Sri Lanka also. Most of the companies are leaving from the business. The one reason is the financial uncertainty, right? So one example is actually in the previous Inland Revenue Act, as you are aware, right? For the SME companies, small and medium enterprises, that is the threshold for the deciding a small and medium enterprises, I think it is 4 or 5 million or something. I can exactly remember the threshold. So based on that, in Sri Lankan context, most of the companies are small and medium level enterprises. Small and medium level enterprises කියන්නේ සිල්ලර කඩ නෙමෙයි. අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම hydroponic එක small and medium level enterprise. Somewhat big, right? Somewhat big. So therefore, in the new amendment for the Inland Revenue Act, there are so many amendments for the Inland Revenue Act. With the government change, with the policy stage of the government, the act will be changed. Right? I have to learn about the act. So there's a tax principle called consistency needs to be there. But in Sri Lanka, there is no consistency and simplicity also is not there. Right? So because of this amendment, previously for SME companies, they will only pay 14% out of their profit for the government. Right now, it's come up to the 30%. That means if you are earn 1,000 profit, you need to pay 300 to the government. 300 rupees to the government. Right? So that is very much high because the profit is you need to cover up the operation expenses, you need to get some sort of return to back for your investment. Those sort of things you need to have. You need to pay for the shareholders, right? So therefore, most of the companies actually leaving from the country, right? Because of this, right? So you can't see this impact in recently, but in next 2-3 years, most of the companies, as I see, most of the companies will leave because of this financial uncertainty because they can't manage the risk, right? So what they are doing, they are going out. Then legal liabilities, right? Legal liabilities will be there, right? As I mentioned before, if the KFC is not providing a good product, then people will claim a legal things, right? So then there's a risk, right? And strategic management error, the management error. So as a manager, as a director, you will be taking a wrong decision, then it will hurt to your company, right? So the decisions also kind of a risk, right? So if someone is saying that we need to acquire this company, so you need to look at the risk associated with that, right? Accident and natural disasters like we are facing the COVID-19. So I'm in the perspective of business, right? We are facing the COVID-19 and the economic crisis, right? That we can't control. But some companies actually earn more profit in the COVID-19 period, right? Like and Srilanka, right? So they create that outfit for the hospital people, right? They earn more profit in the COVID-19 period. Sometimes some companies will leave the country because of the COVID-19. So how you need to manage those sort of things. That is also included in the risk management. And nowadays, most companies are facing IT security threats and data related risks. Right? All face Facebook right? Risk, cyber security, IT related, data. Right? Because nowadays the most important asset is the data. Right? Right? ඔගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ නැතුණාට ඔගොල්ලෝ හැම කෙනෙක් ගැනම Google එක දාන්න. Everything you know, everything the Google knows, right? So that how they are collecting your data, that is the big data, right? So when it comes to the companies, there's a kind of a big risk for the IT related stuff, right? So the cyber security and the big data, so there's a kind of a risk. So those sort of business related risk you need to manage as a future profession, right? So that is the risk management, right? Then as we need to know about the risk management, definition of risk management, right? As I mentioned before, this is not actually we are not asking this for you. The exception definition, right? Definition of risk management. So there are some definitions, right? Risk management is an integrated process of defining specific areas of risk, developing a comprehensive plan, integrating the plan, and conducting the ongoing evaluations. And also managing the risk can involve taking out insurance against the loss, hedging loans against interest rate rises, and protecting an investment against a falls in interest rate. Right. So those sort of definitions can be given. So by looking at this definition, the one thing you need to pick up is risk management is kind of what? Kind of process. Right? It's kind of a process. It's not a single activity. It's kind of an ongoing process. Right? මං කියෝ වගේ හැම තත්පරයකම හැම කම්පැනි එකකම රිස්ක් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට දැන් මං ඩිරෙක්ටර් විදියට අද මං රිස්ක් එක මැනේජ් කරලා මං නිකන් ඉන්නවා. It needs to be ongoing process. There needs to be process ongoing. Every time risk management needs to be there. Right? Right. So therefore, when it comes to risk management, you need to make sure that it should be a process, an ongoing process. Right? So if you are going to start a business, you need to have the good ongoing risk management process. Right? To escape from the unfavorable outcomes. Right? Right. Unfavorable outcomes. The traditional view of risk management has been one of protecting the organization from loss through conformance procedures and hedging techniques. Right? ඉස්තර අපි risk management ඉගෙන ගත්තී. Right? අපි හිත කියනවා අපිට financial instrument use කරලා අපිට risk එක manage කරන්න පුළුවන්. උදාහරණයක් විදියට මම පිටරටින් කාර් එකක් ගියා. ලංකාවේ දැන් ජපානයේ කාර් එකක් ගියදී මම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට AC එක open කරලා exchange rate එක fix කරනවා. and hedge curve. So we can see on the cash for hedge, arbitrage. Right? So we can do the hedge. Right? By doing that, we will manage the risk. Right? Using financial instrument and also conformance procedures, right? So some conformance procedures, we can have some sort of lease arrangements likewise, right? So we can manage the risk. Additional constraint. But nowadays, by doing those things, we can't manage the risk. We need to think, about that, right? The new approach to risk management is about seeking the upside while managing the downsides, right? If you are going to manage the risk by using these techniques, right, what will happen? දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම මම hedge කරනවා දැන් ඩොලර් එකක් ඊට අවුරුද්දකට පොඩ්ඩක් කලින් 150යි මම hedge කරනවා ඩොලර් එකක් 170යි hedge කරනවා 170යි හැබැයි මම වාහනේ ගියදී මගේ ඩොලර් එක 150. That is not managing the risk nowadays. But we have learned as a managing risk. We are trying to optimize the unfavorable outcomes. That is not optimizing the unfavorable outcome. We are facing the unfavorable thing, right? I hedge the dollar for 170, but still the dollar is 150. Right? So nowadays, what the companies are doing is they are looking at the upward shift. So that means they are taking the risk, as well as they are looking at how to manage the risk. Right? By taking the risk, they are going for the more return. Taking high risk, and they are going for the more return while they are managing the risk. Right? Hedge කරද්දී අපි risk එක ගන්නෙ නැහැ. අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි risk එක certain level එකට නවත්ත ගන්නවා. But nowadays we can't do like that. Then definitely we can't survive in this country. Right? So therefore, the new approach to the risk management is about seeking the upsides. So you are seeking the upsides, right? You are seeking for the more return, right? And while managing the downsides, right? While managing the downsides. That means you are managing the risk. The traditional context, we are saying that we can hedge, we can do the kind of risk management techniques we can follow, then we can manage. But nowadays, we can't survive in the business by doing those things. Right? That is the today's competitive world. Right? So now risk management problem. So this is the examinable point, right? Definitely there will be a question from this part, right? So you need to aware about it, right? So today what I will go through with the risk management process. I'm not going more detail about risk management process, and I will take one by one in next few years, not few years, in few weeks, right? Sorry, few weeks, and I will discuss about those, right? Right. The first one is establishment the context, right? So before doing anything, what you need to do? You need to understand the environment. To understand the environment you are working on. මොනවගේ කාර්යයක් කරන්නේ? මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? context එක අවබෝධ කරගන්නවා. දැන් CA ඩිග්‍රී එක කරනවා නම් මොන context එකේද මේ ඩිග්‍රී එක කරන්නේ? මේක කරාම මට මොකක්ද හම්බෙන්නේ? Right? So you need to identify the environment. Right? So that is the establishment of the environment. Then you need to identify the risk. What kind of risk I am having? Right? You can you can identify the risk, right? You need to identify the risk, right? What kind of risk you are having, right? So then, by identifying those risks, you need to analyze or you need to assess what kind of impact you are having by having this risk, right? Then, now we know the risk, what are the risk I am having, and I assess the risk, what is the level of risk. Is this risk is a high risk or low risk? We have identified that. Then we need to do the treatments. Right? Do the treatments for the risk. Right? Right? Treatment means what are the techniques we are using to manage the risk. Right? Then You need to review. You need to monitor. Right? දැන් අපි උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපි හරිය risk එක manage කරලා තියෙන අපි හිතමු cyber security attack එකක් තියෙනවා. මම identify කරගත්ත risk එක මම දැම්මා software එක. දැන් මගේ risk එක හරිය අපායට දැන් එහෙම කිව්වොත් එහෙම හරියන්නේ. So we need to review the control, right? We need to review the things, right? So that is why the internal control is coming up with this risk management part, the course of framework which will be discussed in latter part of the discussion in the next week. So coming next week, right? So you need to evaluate, review what you have challenged, right? So this is a kind of a process, right? Kind of a process. Then review කළ මොනවා හරි ආපහු deficiency එකක් identify කරොත් ආපහු මුලින්ම යන්න. Right? This is a process. Right? This is a process. So let's look at one by one, establish the context, the first one. Establish the context. The purpose of this stage of planning enables to understand the environment in which the respective organization operates. That means the truly understands the external environment and the internal culture of the organization. You cannot report a risk if you do not know that it is. At the initial stage, it is necessary to establish the context of the risk. To establish the context, there is a need to collect relevant data. There is a need to map the scope of the risk and objective of the organization. Very important, right? So you need to go through with the context of the business. You need to go through with what you are doing in the business, and you need to identify what kind of environment you are working on, right? And you need to know what kind of scope you are having, and you need to align that scope with the organization objective. Organization objective in the sense, sometimes your main objective is to earn profit, right? To earn profit, what kind of scope you are having. So that thing you need to firstly know, right? You need to identify the environment, right? You need to identify or the understanding the environment, right? And that's how we put a boring here. Right? You must take that note. Current then we have to take a story somewhere. Theory, but Balu for that. Story in the telegram, right? You have to figure out on subject. Story to that, right? What are the financial accounting going on? I can answer the make a increment, right? If an Italian about the mother and what I can avoid break and avoid. So understand the environment. So that's the first thing you need to do, right? And next one, very important, identify, right? You need to identify the risk, right? You need to identify the risk, right? Make a study කරේ නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ risk එක තමයි paper එකට ලකුණු නැති වෙනවා, right? ඒ නිසා you need to identify the risk. Context එක තමයි environment එක බලනවා නින්ද යන environment එකක් තියෙනවා. Risk management ethics කියන්නේ නින්ද යනවා governance වචන ගොඩක් සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සුන්ගේ මොලේ හැදලා තියෙන වචන ගොඩක් තියෙද්දි ඒ කියන්නේ හරි boring කරගන්න. mathematical දේවල් වල තමයි මිනිස්සු කැමති. සාමාන්‍ය හැමෝටම මම කියන්නේ ගණන් හදන්න maths කියන එක නෙවෙයි mathematical දේවල්. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි computer game එකක් ගන්න කැමති. cricket match එකක් බලන්න කැමති. mathematical දේවල් වලට ඔළුව හැදෙන්න ඉස්සරහ කම්මැලි නැතුව කරන්න. මේ වගේ අර ලොකු content එකක් තියෙන ගොඩක් කරලා කම්මැලි. So that is the environment. Right? So then read, if you are not studying this, there's a risk. Right? You will fail this set. Right? Identify the risk. Identifying the risk is very crucial. Why? If you are not identifying the correct risk, then what will happen? You will be having some unfavorable outcomes. දැන් අපි risk එක identify කරලා කියලා okay කියලා ඉන්නවා. මම කියනවා මට තියෙන risk මම identify කරලා ඉවරයි. මට තියෙන risk මම identify කරලා ඉවරයි කියලා මම ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි ඔයා හරියට risk එක identify කරලා නැත්නම් company එකට at least benefit your company. මම නිකන් general උදාහරණයක් ගන්නවා. මම යනවා ගෑල් ළමයිගෙන් ආෆ් කවුට් කරලා. හරි. ඒ ගෑල් ළමයිට ඉන්නවා මම හිතනවා එක අයියා කෙනා ඉන්නේ කියලා. නිසා මම ඒ අයියා නැති වෙලාවට තමයි යන්නේ. ගෙදර ගියාම තව අයියා දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා. අල්ලගෙන ගහනවා. Right. So I have not identified the risk correctly. Right. So identifying the risk is very crucial. Right. Identifying the risk is very crucial. Right. Sometimes you will be miss the thing. In your examination also you will miss the things. Right. I will give the case study and I ask you to follow this process. Right. So when you are following this process, so when you are reading the case study, there are so much of words there. So when you are reading the case study, sometimes you will be miss the important risk. Right. So they get risk miss වුණාට පස්සේ ඒ කම්පැනියට මොකුත් දෙන්න case study එක. හැබැයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඒ exam එකේ ලකුණු වලට risk එකක් තියෙනවා. Right. So therefore identify the risk is very important when it comes to the company context as well as for your examination. Right. So identify risk is very crucial. It is the foundation of risk management. Right. So if you are not identifying the risk correctly, then risk management question එකටම ලකුණු හම්බෙනවා. Likewise in the business also, if you are not identifying the risk correctly, then company will face the risk. Company have to bear the risk foundation, right? So therefore, this is a foundation of risk management. Identifying risk is a foundation, right? Without correct foundation or the appropriate foundation, the risk management building will be collapsed, right? Risk management will be, the building will be collapsed. අපි දන්නවනේ foundation එකට වැදගත් මොන මේකට foundation ඉගෙන ගන්න එකට foundation එක වැදගත්. මේ building එකට foundation එක වැදගත්. දැන් මේක foundation එක දාලා තියෙන නැත්නම් 3යි කාලෙක මේ කඩන් වෙනවා. right? ඒ වගේ තමයි company එක. If you are not identifying the risk correctly, the business or the building will be collapsed. Right? The business building will be collapsed. Or the building, I mean the business concept will be collapsed. You need to focus on the problem. Right? You need to focus on the problem. What kind of problems you are having? Right? Identify the potential problems. So they are sources to understand the associated risk. Right? Right? So you need to focus on the problem to identify the risk. Right? Otherwise you can't identify the risk. Right? දැනට මට තියෙන problem එක මොකක්ද? What kind of problem I am having? I am having a cyber security attack. Right? So what kind of potential risk I am having? I will lose my data. Right? For example, recently there is a cyber security attack for the insurance company. Right? I'm not saying the name. Right? So what will happen? Someone is coming to the system and change the data. Right? So what will happen? The insurance company's data will change. උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මම ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් කරලා දිනවා. හරි? මම ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් කරලා දිනවා මගේ ෆැමිලි එකට තමයි මම නැත්නම් තමයි කාම්බේ. හරි. මට මොනවා හරි වෙලා වෙනවා කියලා හිතන්න. හරි. එතකොට database එකේ change කරලා තියෙනවා මට අදාළව ඉන්න මගේ relations වල වෙන කට්ටිය. එතකොට මගේ payment එක නෙමෙයි. There is a huge impact to the business. Right? Right. So you need to focus on the problem. Comprehensive knowledge needed. If you don't have the knowledge, right? As a CFO, you don't know about the cyber security things. Right? You don't have the idea about the IT. What is the meaning of IT? I don't know. You need to have the comprehensive knowledge about everything. Right? If you want to become a director someday, if you want to become a director, what you need to know? You need to know either everything you need to know, right? Either you need to know little bit of everything. How to handle everything, you need to know. So comprehensive knowledge is needed. You need to have the knowledge about the accounting, legal, social, finance, operations. That is why the syllabus also there are, the finance also there, legal sort of things also there, taxation also there, right? As a profession, you need to know everything, right? You need to know everything. හැමදේම වගේ දැනගන්න. right? Multiple techniques available, right? Brainstorming, interviewing, checklist, scenario analysis, direct observation, incident analysis, survey, and various other methods can be. So when you are going to identify the risk in the business, right, you can use these techniques, right? You can use this technique, right? So you can interview the people, right? You can interview the people, right? So nowadays there's a kind of a topic is coming up when it's coming to the forensic accounting thing, right? Mostly the forensic accounting things is coming up with the interview, not knowing about the accounting principles. You need to have the accounting knowledge, but the interviewing skill is something very important for the forensic account because you are going to interview the people. Our policy and you need to interview the people. So when you are interviewing the people, you need to extract the important thing out of that person, right? Like our managing මේක මෙහෙම කොහොමද උනේ අප්‍රේල් මාසේ එකපාරම සේල්ස් වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා ඇනලිටිකල් රිවිව් එකේ කරාට පස්සේ සේල්ස් වැඩි ඇයි මේක රිලීසන් ඇයි මේ සේල්ස් අඩු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ so you are interviewing the people right so you need to have those kind of techniques right so you can directly observe බලන්න ඉන්නවා මොකද risk එක right you can observe right උදාහරණයක් විදිහට PM අපි නිකන් ගමු I'm not downgrading job right now PM common lower salary ගන්න තියෙන්නේ right ඒක දවසක් මම බලන්නේ PM දෙනවා motorcycle එක අනිත් දවස් දෙනවා BMW කවදාවත් දෙනවා BMW so there is a concern there's a risk there direct observation right that's we call it as red flags that's when it's come to the account forensic account right so these are the techniques we can identify the risk we can directly observe we can interview right we can have a survey right we can have a survey brainstorming and you can have a checklist right you can have a checklist and check whether there's a risk is there right example is I have a warehouse right I have a warehouse I have stored some sort of gold there right I have gold that warehouse so in that warehouse according to my control procedure it says I have the CCTV camera there and the door lock is also there and the security guard also there. So I have a checklist and I go to the warehouse and check whether those things are there. CCTV is not working, door lock is not there and security also go over the line. Right? There's a risk. Right? There's a risk. So that is how we are identifying them. Right? So the identification of risk is very crucial. So if you not identify the risk properly, so it will collapse your business, right? It will collapse your business. So there are as a CFO, as a manager, as a finance manager, or as a higher portion of your business or the decision maker of your business, you need to identify them, right? You need to identify them. Assessment. So how we are going to assess the risk, right? So for this, there's a techniques. There are some techniques. We will learn these techniques in next a few weeks, right? So you need to look at evaluate the likelihood and the impact. So likelihood and the impact. So there is a we call it as risk grid, right? Right. කොච්චර අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවද මේ risk එක සිද්ධ වෙන්න සහ ඒකෙන් තියෙන impact එක. right අපි හිතමු ලොකු අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා මේක සිද්ධ වෙන්න. හැබැයි impact එක පොඩි. How we are going to manage those kind of things. ලොකු අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා මේක සිද්ධ වෙන්න impact එකක් වැඩි. How we are going to manage it. Impact එක අඩුයි. සිද්ධ වෙන්න තියෙන අවස්ථාවක් අඩුයි. How we are going to manage those. So we need to categorize our identified risk according to those sort of techniques, right? So that we call it as assessment. අපි බලනවා අපේ risk එකෙන් කොච්චර impact එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි ඒක යනවා rate කරනවා. Right? So that is we call it as assessing the focus on the prioritization. It helps to determine which risk require the most urgent attention in your risk management plan. Right? අපි දැනගන්න ඕනේ අපේ මුලින්ම අවධානය යන්න ඕනේ කොතෙන්ද prioritize. Right? අපි හිතමු මෙතන ඉබදාලා තිබෙන එක ලොකු ඉම්පැක්ට් එකක් නැහැ. හැබැයි ඉස්සරහ බිල්ඩින් එක ඉබදාලා තිබෙන තමයි. ලොකු ඉම්පැක්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා. Right? So you need to, based on that, you need to prioritize the risk. Right? You need to prioritize the risk. Estimate the likelihood can be challenging. So sometimes likelihood also, that is also kind of a challenging. Right? ඒක kind of a judgmental thing. Right? ඔයාට හිතන්න පුළුවන් මේක සිද්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන් සම්භාවිතය වැඩි. තව කෙනෙක් හිතන්න පුළුවන් මේක සිද්ධ වෙන්න පුළුවන් සම්භාවිතය නැත්නම් probability එක likelihood එක අඩුයි. Right? It is a judgmental thing. Right? So judgmental thing is coming up with your knowledge. You know, when it comes to auditors, also they have some judgmental aspects. Professional skepticism, as you are aware. Right? Professional skepticism, you need to look at in a kind of a skepticism mind when you are doing the auditing. Right? I mean, you know, professional skepticism, හොඳටම තියෙන එක තමයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඥාන පත්‍රිකා professional skepticism හොඳටම තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒක සයිකෝමුතු බැලුවෙන් තමයි බලන්නේ. Right? ඒක ගොඩක්ම තියෙන අම්මට කියන ඔබ මොනවා හරි කරාම දන්නවා මොකද කරන්නේ. This the professional skepticism. So as a auditor, as an accountant, you need to have the professional skepticism. So that is coming up with your knowledge. Right? Sometimes the likelihood can be challenging. Right? Like deciding how much this risk is happen or not. It is a kind of a challenging thing to decide. Right? And quantify the risk when possible. Right? Sometimes we can't quantify the risk. Right? But try to quantify it. පුළුවන් තරම් try කරනවා risk එක quantify. Quantify කරනවා කියන්නේ risk එකට අගයක් value එක. රුපියල් value එක. ලක්ෂයකට රුපියල් value. මේ risk එක නිසා මට වෙන impact එක කොහොමද? So you need to quantify. Right? So risk you need to quantify. Right? So that is how we are assessing. So when you are assessing, first thing you need to do, you need to identify the likelihood and impact. Right? And you need to prioritize the risk and you need to quantify the risk. Right? Sometimes you can't quantify the risk, but try to quantify the risk. Right? So that is how we are assessing the risk. So now we know the environment, we have identified the risk. Now we are assess the risk. Right? Now we exam එකට මේක apply කරොත් එන්නේ අපිට case study එක දීලා දිනවා case study එක වල මම environment එක understand කරනවා. Right? ඊට පස්සේ environment එකෙන් තියෙන risk එක identify කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මම බලනවා මම උත්තරේට ලියන්න ඕන හොඳම දේවල් මොනවද? So that is assessment of the risk. Right? Assessment of the risk. Right? Then the fourth one, treatment. Right? Now we know the risk, we prioritize the risk, we know the impact of the risk and the likelihood of the risk. Right? Then we need to treat the risk. Right? We need to treat the risk. So what are the treatments we have? අපිට සාමාන්‍ය risk එකක් හම්බුනම අපිට මොකක්ද අපි කරන්නේ? පළවෙනි first thing අපිට දෙනවා අවදානම මොනවද සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ? Avoiding, right? Facing argument. Yeah, avoiding from the risk. Right? So that is not acceptable in the business world. Don't avoid the risk. If you avoid the risk, that means the trade-off principle is coming up. If you are not taking the risk, you will be losing the profit. That is the concept. Right? You will not taking the risk. Someone will coming up and taking that risk and take the risk. Right? So then the business will have a loss. Right? Right? Even though you are not taking the risk, that is not saying that it is acceptable. Right? You need to take the risk and you need to get the return. But there is a technique you can follow. You can avoid the risk. Right? As a risk treatment, you can avoid. Right? So you are having a risk of failing the examination, but to avoid it. They really end up with. Really end up with a failing it. That is the avoid. So there is a risk is coming up. I feel I will fail this subject. What I am doing? That asani penalty. Right. Avoid. Actually, that is not accepted in the modern world of business. Don't avoid the risk. People are not saying that it is good thing to avoid the risk. You need to take the risk. Right? In our personal life also, you need to take the risk. Otherwise, you will not having the appropriate regard. Right? You need to take the risk. But there's a treatment called avoid. So you can see that person is coming up to that girl and asking to do some time. Right? It's refusing. That is avoid. Then retention. Retention is very important. Right? What do you mean by retention? What do you mean by retention? Retention is kind of a saving, right? දැන් අපිට හම්බෙන ඉන්කම් එකේ අපි කීයක් හරි ඉතුරු කරලා තියෙනවා. අනාගතයේදී මට මොකක් හරි දෙයක් වෙයි. So if I'm facing any kind of uncertainty in the future, I have saved, I have retained something, right? So that is also a correct, right? Retention in a business world, right? In a business world, there's two retention strategies they are following: captive insurance and self-insurance. So what do you mean by captive insurance? Anyone knows? So that is one technique they are using for the retention. Anyone knows? Yes. One knows. We can create a subsidiary company to protect our mother company. So we can create a insurance company as a subsidiary company. We can build a company, insurance company as a subsidiary company, and we are insured our mother company. Mother company insure කරන්න අපි subsidiary company කපින් හදනවා. That is called is a captive insurance or self insurance. Right? Self insurance means මට හම්බෙන ගාණි මං කීයක් හරි ඉතුරු කරගෙන ඉන්නවා. මට මොකක් හරි වුණොත් ඒක use කරනවා. Insurance. Right? Self insurance. So those things are the retention techniques. Modern world of business. Right? Modern world of business. සමහර companies හදාගෙන ඉන්නවා subsidiary company එකක් insurance company එකක් විදිහට. මේ insurance company insure කරලා තියෙන mother company එක. Right? ඒගොල්ලෝ retaining money the subsidiary company. Right? That we call as captive insurance. Right? Then sharing. Right? Sharing the amount කරනවා නේ. Sharing and sharing. Risk එක share කරනවා. මට risk එකක් තියෙනවා මට මම යනවා ගෑනලා මේක බලන්න. යටි ආලෝකත් එකයි. යවුවොත් එහෙම දෙන්නක් බලන්න. Sharing. Sharing the risk. Right? So in the business world, we are sharing the risk. Right? We are sharing the risk. Right? Having a PLC company, what that means? They are sharing the risk. Right? We are asking the shareholders to invest. So there are so many shareholders. When the company collapses, all the shareholders need to penalize. We have sharing the risk. The recent example is the Expo Lanka PLC. Right? It is delisted, if you are aware. Right? So in 2019, the share price of the Expo Lanka, as I aware, it is 50 or something. But with the COVID-19 comes, right, it goes up to 350. Right? If someone is buying one share for 50, he will getting 300, right? Capital gain. Right? And suddenly, what happened after COVID-19? The share price dropped up to I think 120 or something. And also, actually, business can no longer exist. So they are delisted. They are delisted and they have paid the shareholders 150 IT, right, for the share, one share. So that kind of things can happen, right? So that is the kind of a sharing. You can share the risk, right? If you are going to start a business, you can start a business with your friend, right, and share the risk. Transferring. Risk is transferring. So what do you mean by transferring? How we are transferring the risk? What is a common example for transferring the risk? Yes, very good. Insurance. So we can do the insurance. We can transfer my risk. The amount Titanic never run on value. My insurance will right? So there are companies that insuring their aeroplanes and the ships, right? Main insurance company, the Srilanka insurance, insurance company, our insurance company, insurance company. Then very well, very well, America, Lanka. Insurance company, and then it are taking a little, Lanka, they are very then the Titanic now insurance insurance company. एक बार में Titanic ने भी लेना insurance company Titanic ने गाल देने पे Titanic ने गाल देने पे तो Titanic ने गाल दोनों से insurance company इंद्रेन ने ये ना ये बोलो they have transferred their risk to someone else, right? So transferring risk is another treatment we can do, right? So there are insurance companies called Ministry. So those kind of companies are the reinsurance companies. They are specialized for the reinsurance. Reinsurance means insurance against insurance, right? So they have insured the insurance companies, right? They are insured the big assets, right? Kan kita the plane ne kadang bernut tu, mata plane ne tu no, ek baar plane ne kadang bernut. Man nikan ne, man insurance ka lebih. So insurance company no plane ne gana given no. So there is a risk. Right? So we can what we can do? We can transfer that risk. Right? We can transfer that risk. The common example is the insurance. Transfer the risk. Right? Loss prevention and reduction. Loss prevention and reduction. So what that means? Loss prevention and reduction. You feel kind of similarity with the avoidance. Right? Avoidance का risk reduction का एक वाली reduction है. और क्या मतलब मुझे पता है. Loss prevention. What do you mean by loss prevention? What's the difference between the avoidance and the prevention? Avoidance and the prevention. Avoidance and the prevention. Avoid prevention again. So we are taking the risk, right? So if we are having a risk, then we are going to prevent. For example, I know I will in next 20 years time, I know I will have a heart attack. Yes, right. Then what I can do? I can prevent it by having a good health treatment. Right? I know I have the risk, so you can have kind of a prevention strategy. Right? You are taking the risk. You are not taking the risk. You are in the avoidance. You are not taking the risk, but in the loss prevention part or the reduction part, you are taking the risk and you are following up to preventive prior actions to prevent or reduction. Right? So those are the 5 main risk treatment, right? For the risk we have identified. Right? Right? They can now go सामान्य जीवन apply करना पड़ता है. ये वाकई में business context के लिए apply करना. मतलब क्या बोले? Risk के share करना पड़ता है. Risk के retain करना पड़ता है. मटा तवा और उन दाहे के उन्होंने बात किया कि मामा जब भी गाना तो करें. That is all coming up in the retain. Retain is something. and I'm sharing, and I have the insurance, right? And sometimes I will not take in the risk, avoid in the risk, right? And I'm having some preventive actions, reductions, right? For the risk. So those sort of treatments you can have. So in your examination, definitely I will test these 5 prevention or 5 basic methods of risk management. Right. So generally your examination question will be structured as a case study, and you need to pick up the risk and you need to apply the treatment. Right. Right. There. The last one. Review and evaluation of the plan. Right. So now we have identified the risk, right? We have assessed the risk. We do something for the risk, and then we need to review it, right? We need to review it, right? උදාහරණයක් විදියට, or for an example, let's say I have a warehouse in my business, right? So I have identified the risk that the warehouse එක හරියට අපි හිතමු warehouse එකට හොරුපා ඉන්න පුළුවන් possibility එක වැඩි. So that is my identified risk, right? I have assessed the risk and I have do some treatments, right, to avoid the risk. I have established the CCTV, security guard, and the door lock. All are there. Now I am good, right? But what will happen? We need to check whether I have established the risk protocols, but we need to check whether these things are actually working and these things are actually applied for today's context, right? දැනටමත් මම ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කරලා තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මේවා සමහරවිට මේ වෙලාවට ඇප්ලයි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right? උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මම ඩෝ ලොක් එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා. right? හැබැයි හොරාට පුළුවන් මේ ඩෝ ලොක් එක කඩන් යන්න. මම සිකියුරිටි කෙනෙක් දාලා තියෙනවා සිකියුරිටිට එලින් හරියට වෙඩි තියා ගන්න බෑ. So I need to monitor it. I need to look at, evaluate the risk management protocols I have done. Ongoing call. You need to monitor it, right? So you need to look at 2 things. Regular review is essential. Plans are living documents, so it is a kind of a living document, right? Plan කරාට පස්සේ හැම වෙලේම මේකේ ජීවත් වෙන්න, right? It's kind of a ongoing thing, right? අපි plan කරලා ඉවරලා plan කරා ඔක්කොම හරි කියලා ඉන්න බෑ. We need to live with the plan, right? And also you need to regularly review, right? Very important to review, and you need to look at the control efficiency for effective, right? Control effective, right? Whether my controls are effective, right? When you are doing the auditing, you are checking the test of control, right? Whether the established controls are effective, right? අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම check එකක් sign කරන්න මම දාලා තියෙන 3 දෙනෙක්. එක්කෙනෙක් තමයි check එක ලියනවා, තව එක්කෙනෙක් check එක authorize කරනවා, තව එක්කෙනෙක් check එක දෙනවා. right? Control එක establish කරලා තියෙන්නේ risk එකක් නැහැ, fraud එකක් වෙන්න තියෙන risk එකක් නැහැ. right? Fraud risk is not there. right? What happened? Those people are get together. අපි තුන් දෙනා තමයි එකතු වෙලා කරනවා. අපි තුන් දෙනා කතා කරනවා. හරි අපි තුන් දෙනා එකතු වෙලා මේක හොරගන්න. The effectiveness of the control is not there. So you need to regularly evaluate the plan we are having, right? The most common fraud that people are doing is they are get together and do fraud. It is very difficult to find out. People get together and do fraud. We can't find out. Very difficult. In Sri Lankan context, most of the I don't know, there is a, so let's say politicians, right? When you are looking at the politicians, up to bottom, right? Everyone get together and do frauds. Right? Then it is very difficult to find out. And business change. Every time business will change, right? Right? Every time business will change. Available change on, available change on. Likewise, the business also change. In next second, the new virus is coming up. The business will change. In next second, the economics will collapse. When you are going to pay the debts, then the economic will be collapsed. Right? Business change. So we need to check whether if I implement a control, whether it is suitable for this business change. Every second you need to analyze. Right? සමහරවිට මම දැන් ඉම්ප්ලිමන්ට් කරපු control එක appropriate නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් business එක. Because business is changing, right? Regularly. So you need to check whether the changes. And dynamic, be aware of the dynamic risk. Dynamic risk is coming up, like cyber security, right? Like AI technology is coming up. So now, the main risk in the university system is what? ChatGPT, right? AI technology is the major risk, right? Right. So if I'm given the assignment, you can face the same thing in the ChatGPT and ask, prepare the answer. Then 1 or 2 seconds, there's a good answer, right? Even though you can write a research as well, right? So it is very difficult to evaluate. When it comes to the university systems, is now we are looking at the AI technology. Now the third minute software is incorporating some tools for the detect the AI, right? But still, the new things are coming up. Then turnitin එකට AI technology එක detect කරන්න incorporate කරාට ඊළඟ මොහොතේ ඒකට වෙන එකක් තව එකක් කරනවා. So you can do the paraphrasing and you can somewhat go beyond the turnitin. Likewise, there's a kind of a major risk when it comes to the university system because of the AI. So how we are going to manage this, those kind of risks, we are not giving the assignments, not giving the written assignments. We are asking you to present. Yeah, we are giving the report, and you will be definitely like if you will validate the IO, right? And also you can prepare the PowerPoint site using the AI also. Right? That is also nice, but you can't present. Using ChatGPT. That is why we are taking the present. That is the one strategy we are following. Right? And we are allocating more marks to assignments. More marks to assignments when it's coming to the presentations and the other sort of things. Right? Not for the reports. Right? That is how we are managing the university. So this is how you need to evaluate and review your plan, right? The regular review is very important. So now we have completed 5 major risk management process elements. The first one is establish the context, and we will identify the risk and assess the risk, right? Assess the risk, and next one, the risk treatments, and we are evaluating or we are reviewing our plan, risk management plan. So those 5 processes is an ongoing process, right? So we regularly with that, right? Okay, so let's have a 10 minutes break for the time being. So I feel like you guys are right? So after the break, I will give you a question to do, right? So you have to do the question and you need to present it to the class. Okay. Online people, you don't buy any kind of question. All right.
Sir, can you explain the retention part again? Can you explain the retention treatment again?
Retention. So when it comes to, can you hear me properly?
Yes, I can.
When it comes to retention means we are keeping some sort of money. Let's say I have income of 1,000, right? So I'm keeping 300 as a saving, right? For my future uncertainty. That's called as retention. We are retaining some kind of money out of my salary, out of my income. So when it comes to the businesses also, they will have some retention, right? They will have some retention called. Sometimes some businesses will create a subsidiary company, and they will insure the subsidiary company insure the mother company. That we call it as captive insurance, right? Captive insurance, right? So that is how they are going to do the retention rate, right? So simply the retention means you are retaining some sort of money for the future uncertainty, right? Got my point?
Okay, sir. Right, yes, sir. Thank you. Got the point. So one more thing regarding the group assignment, what is the number of members should be?
For the some group, they are having 8-member group. 8-member groups already established. I will ask them to keep that with them. So you can have 5 to 8 members. So don't go beyond the 8 members. 5 to 8 members are okay.
Okay, so we are having 6 members. That would be fine, right, sir?
Right. While others are coming, then do the question. Right. There's a question. Right. Listen. There's a question. So in that, do the question. I will give you around 10 minutes. So then I will fix you a few to present. Autograph. There's a question. You have to do the question. Right. Let's go one by one. First one is what are the key risks associated with the launch of this new product? What are the risks you have identified? Key risks. You can use one word. One risk. You have identified the safety risk. The safety risk is there. What we call that as a negative practice. It's a kind of a market risk. The market, any problem there, the kind of a Activity, market, yes. Any other? Regulatory. Right. So because in the kind of don't talk, don't talk. Don't talk, you can go outside and talk. It's disturbing on this. So the first one is what he mentioned, safe sheets. Right. Then the second one is the master plan. He has mentioned about the legal aspect. Because people are fighting for medical people. That's the regulation. So any other? How we can do it? We can say like operation. That's all right. So then the company is doing the operation thing. Sometimes because of some, let's say, because of this equipment is not properly working, sometimes the recall will be happening. So the calculation kind of operation will be right. Is embedded the technology we can call that operation. Yes, any other risk? Yes, very important. That is financial risk. Right. So you are finance guy. Financial risk will be there. Right. So we are implementing a new product. Sometimes okay, there's a financial risk. Right. So those are few risks you can identify. Right. So what are the risks? Safety risk, market risk, regulatory risk, operational risk, and the financial. Right. Yes. The second one, how would you go about establishing the context for these risks? So you are going to establish the context. So now we are in the process of risk management. The first step, establishing the context. So how we are going to establish the context? Understand the environment we can do. What kind of context? To understand the environment. So we can, when we are establishing the context, either we can do the internal environment analysis as well as the external environment analysis. So you can work with the internal environment and work with the external environment. You can analyze the environment of this product, right? Identify the environment of this product. Third one, what method you use to identify the potential risk? What are the methods? Identify the risk. What are the methods you can use? Okay. Okay. We have discussed some methods. Identify the risk. How we are going to identify the risk? Yes, immediately interviews with the people, with the subhead. That's going to be the technique. What we are doing now, we are assessing the risk in the third point. Right? Now here is we are identifying. Yes. Any methods? Clinical trials. Do some clinical trials and identify what? Yes, clinical trials we can identify. Yeah. Yes. Brainstorm. Interview. Survey. Interview. And also trial. We can to identify the risk. Right. Right. The fourth point, once you have identified the risk, how would you assess it? How you are going to assess it? So now we are at the third point, assessing the risk. After you have identified the risk, so now you are going to assess the risk. Based on what? Likelihood, impact, right? So likelihood, as I mentioned before, it is a kind of a judgmental. Sometimes I feel this is a kind of a high risk, but sometimes you will feel like it's kind of a low one. Right? Likelihood is a judgmental, and also the impact. Right? We try to quantify the risk. So based on the likelihood and the impact, we are assessing the risk. Right? How this risk is impact to the business. There are no information given to assess the risk, but in your case study in the examination, they will definitely give you the information to assess the risk, right? Based on your judgment and the impact. Right? So based on your judgment or the likelihood and the impact, you can assess the each and every risk. Right? What risk treatment options you consider for the most significant risk? So what are the treatments? Let's say the first risk we have identified safety risk. So what kind of treatments we have? Safety risk sometimes because of which people is not working properly. Sometimes people will late. Safety. What kind of things we can do? Good. Yes. Yes. Coming under what? We have discussed about 5 treatments. Cost reduction, prevention. Treatment that we can have. Before 45 minutes now, we are talking about it. If
external certification. Getting external standard certification.
yes, you can involve the experts and you can get the certification from the governing body. So you can say. Right, then next one is the market risk. Market risk. Market risk. Market risk. Market risk. What we can do? Market risk. What do you mean by market risk? Definitely your competitors coming up and they will say if you are use this product, there are some sort of impact are there. What you can do, you can aware the people that they, you can say that if you are using this product, the impact will be very minimal, right? And the outcome will be very high, right? You can establish the awareness on the market. And also you can have some sort of plan for mitigating the market risk, right? That you can also do. Right. Then the financial risk, financial risk, financial risk, financial risk in the sense, actually because this product is not perform as we expected, sometimes the recall can be happening. People reduce and before the need. So kind of financial risk can be happening, that means losses. How we can address those? You can have insurance, right? You can have insurance. You can have the insurance, and you can have the sort of retention money, right, to cover up the financial. Right. Next on the regulatory risk. Regulators are very important for those kinds of things. Recently, the COVID-19 vaccine also there is a like regulatory thing. 100% correct. That's it. Regulatory risk, how to manage all three. Regulate. Point. Regulate. And legal case है फाइनल है और करें how we are managing. That is after having that, so yeah, I think potential risk, yeah, if there is no legal case, the potential legal case can be coming. Regulatory risk is there. So how we can do? What kind of things we can do? So we are talking about potential income. The business we are discussing about the potential risk. Risk के अपना पास है डन risk manage करना और risk के इतना काल. Regulatory risk, what we can. Then we have to think that they were only late night. Regulatory risk. Yes, regulatory risk. Yes. So you can get the legal consent from the patient, right? You can find human and legal consent. So if you have consent form you can see it, and you can get the legal consent from the patient. Operation again there. Then what we have missed, other district also there, regulatory, finance and safety. Operation. How you can manage that? Operations. 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 Quality control, very good. Right? You can have a quality control procedure, right? You can have a quality control procedure. Right? So think, right? Likewise, you can write the answers, right? So there are so many answers will be there. So the thinking is very important. Based on your thinking, the answer is coming. Right? Sixth one, how would you develop a plan to monitor and reduce the risk associated with this end product? So now we have established the treatments, then we need to monitor it, regularly monitor it. What we can do. So in the monitoring part, what we have discussed, we are discussing regular review, and we are discussing about the effectiveness of the control. And whether the established control is effective, as you mentioned, we can do the quality control. So now we are into this management plan, but we need to check whether this quality control address the appropriate risk. It is effective or not. And also we have discussed what the monitoring regular checkups or regular reviews. Effectiveness. Yes. Yes. Give the feedback. Yes. Fine. So likewise, I will provide the answer for this, right? So you can look at this answer. I will upload this to the LFS, and then you can understand how we will think. Right? So there are so many things we have missed, right? But if you are answers, I get some answers, right? So I will I will upload on the LFS the answer. You can look at the answer, check whether what level are you, and also I will post another case study question which is very similar to your examination question. Right? It's kind of a big case study, 1.5 page case study. It includes all the information. So you need to write down. Okay. It will help you to examination to get high marks, right? To mitigate your risk, right? Right. So there's a video clip that explains the things we have discussed till now. So now you have some sort of idea, right? So what we have discussed is now, I think you have a good idea. Right? So then, you are moving to the modern context. Now the risk management is kind of a integrated approach, right? Kind of integrated approach. So corporate risk management refers to all of the methods that a company uses to minimize the financial loss. Risk managers, executives, line managers, and risk managers, as well as all employees, perform practice to prevent loss exposure through internal controls of people and technology. Risk management also related to the external threats to corporations, such as the fluctuations in the financial market that affect its financial assets. Right. So when it comes to the risk management, as I mentioned before, as I let's say I'm a boss of the company, so I can if as an individual I can't do the risk management alone. This is an integrated process. All the people in the business needs to be work with each for the risk management. That is an integrated process. So therefore, in every business, if you are let's say a CFO or the risk manager or the executive or the employee of that company, you need to work with the risk management board. Right? It is an integrated board. So that you need to mention when you are writing the article. Right? So this is a kind of an integrated board. Right? So then now we have completed the risk management process and we learned that the risk management is an integrated process. Then the next thing is you need to report. Right? The beginning I mentioned that to done something you need to report it. Okay? Otherwise, there's no value. Right? So therefore you need to report it. So when it comes to the risk reporting, right? So you can do the internal reporting as well as for the external reporting. Right? So normally in the financial accounting also, what we are doing is internal reporting as well as external reporting, right? Right. Internal reporting means so if you have a risk management process within your company, right? You need to aware the risk management process around the company. Everyone needs to know about the risk management process in their capacity. For example, let's say the executive, they want to know what are the risk management process which is allocated to them, right? So you need to report it. That means you need to document it and you need to report it to the internal people or the internal working force or the internal, you need to do the internal report. Likewise, we are doing the financial accounting, we are doing the management accounting, right? Right. We are reporting to the internal part. And also, the external reporting also needs to be there. So that is why in the most of the annual reports, you can see the risk management part is there, right? Risk management, they have reported the risk management part. I have shown you last week how the JKH reported their risk management process in their annual. Right? So they will mention what are the risks they are having for their stakeholders, right? So these risks are having, and they are rating the risk. These are medium risk or high risk, low risk, likewise, and what are the actions they have taken to mitigate or reduce the risk, right? So they have mentioned the risk management process they are following, right? So that is called the external reporting. Why the reporting is very important? Why we report? Right? Because the risk management is, as I mentioned before, is integrated process. So to have it as an integrated process, we need to aware the people, we need to communicate, we need to report it, right? So therefore, we can either do the external reporting as well as for the internal reporting, right? So I have uploaded the risk reporting part on the LMS. So you can further look at that, right? So there are so many things there, right? Okay. So then I'm moving on to another important thing, right? So this is a risk management report prepared by one of the companies, right? Not in Srilanka, right? So see how they are identifying the risk and how they are managing the risk and how they are addressing, how they are monitoring risk. All the things are there in the report, right? So you can see step in risk management, right? So they have first what they have done, identify the risk. So they have identified the production risk. So this is a kind of agricultural company, right? So they have identified. I will not go through with all the risks. So with one, agricultural production implies an expected outcome or yield. Variability in those outcomes causes risk to your ability to achieve financial goals. Any production related activity or event that has range of possible outcomes is a production risk. The major source of production risk are weather, climate change, pest, diseases, technology, genetics, machinery, emissions. Right? So they have identified the production risk which is incorporated in these components. Right? And they have measured the risk, right? So they have identified the human related risk, they have identified the financial risk, they have identified the production risk, and they measure the risk, right? Probability are simply a way of expressing the chance of various outcome of a rate. Weather forecast use probability. For example, they may indicate a 20% chance of rain or 40% chance of snow, right? You can see, right? With the different type of organization, they have different type of risk. Right? Then agricultural business තියෙන ලොකුම risk එකක් තමයි climate risk එක. Right? දැන් ලංකාව ගත්තොත් එහෙම අපි climate changes එකේ බලන්න ඒවල agriculture තියෙන ලොකුම impact එක තමයි climate. So that is why the climate change target is coming up. Right? So there is a FS2 for the climate change. How to report the climate change. So you have to report the climate change in the financial statement. Right? So that is why they have identified the risk. Right? ඉස්සරහට climate change අපි recognize කරන්න ඕන financial reporting. Right? Climate change කොහොමද අපිට financial statement වලට impact වෙන්නේ. Right? So then they will measure the risk, right? They will measure the risk. 20% chance is there for rain and 40% chance is there for snow, right? Then they have assessed the risk, right? They have assessed the risk. By measuring the risk, then they have assessed the risk, right? Risk bearing ability is also affected by cash flow requirement. This includes the obligation for cash cost, taxes, loan repayment, and family living expenses that must be met each year. This higher, the higher these obligations are as a percentage of total cash flow, the less able the business is to achieve it. And also evaluate the risk tolerance, right? Right, evaluate the risk tolerance, and then you can check the risk management board, right? Risk management board. Right. Likewise, they have presented the report, right? So you can read this report, right? On your own, and how they are managing the risk in the section 2, right? Manage the production risk. How they are manage the production risk. Any production related activities or event that is uncertain is a production risk that they have mentioned. Agricultural production implies an expected outcome or yield. That is also mentioned. Growers have 3 choices in dealing successfully with production risk. Right. Now, go look example එක company and do not. Right. So you have to identify the risk. Right. The agricultural company and do not. ඒගොල්ලෝ තියෙන basic risk එක තමයි production risk එක. right? So they are in production risk. So they have given the three solutions, right? They can control or minimize risk through management practices by doing a better job of what they are currently done, right? They can reduce the production variabilities by making changes such as diversifying, integrating, applying on new technology. They can diversify the product, right? ලංකාවේ ඇස්ස කාලෙට මේවා හදනවා ඊට පස්සේ පායදී තව මොනවා හරි හදනවා diversified product. And on the third one, they can transfer production risk to someone else through contracting, purchasing, insurance. Right? They can transfer the risk. Right? Transfer the risk. Contract දෙනවා. Right? ලංකාවේ නම් අර අන්තිමට දෙනවා කියන්නේ. Right? Insurance කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So likewise, you need to write this kind of answer. Right? That is why I'm sharing this document. It's provide what are the risks and how we are going to manage this. Right? In detail. Right? Right. So likewise, we have actually discussed the risk part, actually the introduction to the risk management. This is not about all the things about the risk management, right? When it comes to risk management, we have to discuss about the kind of exchange rate risk, inflation risk, so those sort of things we need to incorporate and we need to go detail into this. So this is a kind of an introductory part for the risk management, right? So in your examination, most probably the one question is coming from the introductory part. So that is my main focus is on the process, right? I will take a case study and ask you to pick the risk and you need to give the mitigating options, right? Treatments, right? More marks will be allocated to identifying the risk and the solution, the treatment. So I will allocate more marks to the identifying risk and for the treatment, right? So that is how you need to do. And so today I will wind up the session now, and next week I will discuss about the process more detailing, and also your presentation I will take as a physical presentation, and there are some online sessions are planned online sessions. You did. And also for the presentation, you need to prepare a good document, and everyone needs to be present, right? Every of you need to be present. And also, I will ask questions from each and everyone. Present, present करना, देने को लाइन में है, हमको present करना पड़े, हमको answer करना, right? Okay, so let's meet on next week. So thank you very much. So let's meet on next week, right?